Hello, Cowboys Nation. This Cowboys champ. I'm at an undisclosed location. I'm with Phil Quarter Cowboy, and I'm with Dane Savage, Draft Guru.
What's up, everybody?
How y'all doing, fellas?
Chilling.
Man, I'm just chilling, man. My truck been in the shop, so I'm at home getting paid just to be at the house. So I'm just out in the town, just enjoying some air, man.
Must be nice.
How long will it take for them to get the part? Because you blew your turbo, right?
Turbo, actuator, some other part they said. So with Peterbilt, it takes, however long. I done got a time frame.
Shit, Peterbilt will take forever.
They got to get the part, order the part, and they got to get it put on. So I'm probably looking at about 2 weeks being at the house.
Hey, if they're paying you, who cares?
Absolutely.
What's up, Nate Dogg?
Nate Dogg.
Okay. If y'all haven't heard, well, there's only one person there right now, so for those who come back and watch it later, there's a story came up, Sports Illustrated, and I saw some YouTubers talking about it earlier. Our third round pick. What's his name?
Sharon Ravel, cornerback.
Rizzo. First of all, when the Cowboys first drafted him, he was recovering from an torn ACL. Now, Savage, I'm gonna let you hit the foot. I'm gonna let you have this.
What's the question?
Oh, tell him about what happened.
So, okay, Sports Illustrated and the Sporting News put out an article that Sharon Ravel has had a setback in minicamp, whatever, with his knee. Now, they've been saying from the get-go that he was going to start the season off on PUP. He tore his knee at the end of September, early October. So yet, I don't understand why these people think everyone is Superman and they're going to rush somebody back early. But then you got the GIMP, the guy Mike Fisher. And in my opinion, he says whatever. In my opinion, he has zero football knowledge, and he just says whatever Jerry tells him to say. And he's saying, no, Sharon Ravel's fine. There is no setback. Bro, he never says a bad word about Dallas at all. Me personally, I do not know what this team's fascination with hurt players is. Because if you're but now Jerry's the GM. That's why he loves drafting hurt players. Because if you're a GM and you're worried about getting fired, you're not going to draft a hurt player. I mean, granted, Sean Lee played a lot of games for us, but he missed just as many games. We wasted a first-round pick on LVE with his neck. You don't draft a linebacker with a bad neck. Jalen Smith's knee was coleslaw. Let's be honest. We drafted him round 2. Damone Clark, another linebacker with a bad neck. Did we learn anything from LVE? No. And now, when we had much, much bigger needs, then that's Jerry doing the humping dance when they take Sharon Ravel corner out of East Carolina in round 3. And like I said, the Gimps are saying, oh, no, he's fine. I don't trust them at all. They're going to say what – it's like those radio shows, man. They're going to say what Jerry wants them to say, in my opinion. Why would Sports Illustrated, then the Sporting News, put out false information? What would they get out of it? And let's be honest. We all know he's not 100%. He's not even close to it. Do you think the Cowboys are going to say, yeah? Like, do you think the Cowboys are going to admit to him having a setback?
Nope.
Has Jerry ever admitted he's wrong for anything?
Nope.
Pound, Savage, how do you feel about people saying Sharon Ravel was a top cornerback before the injury? Yeah, that's great. That's like saying if I was 6'3", I would have went to Notre Dame. You know? It's ridiculous.
Drafting
players has not worked out for us.
Yeah. Phil Quarter. this question is for you right now. Okay, besides Sharon Revelle, you still got Diggs, who's dealing with a torn meniscus and ACL. You still got Bland, uh, even though he came back and played, but he wasn't the Bland from the year before.
Mhm.
Also, Butler, who's coming off a ACL, and basically we got the kids from Buffalo, who's a cornerback who just for body, just for a body for a camp. So I'm from a scale of 1 to 5. What is your confidence that the cornerbacks can get back to the same level they were 2 or 3 years ago?
I don't think. I don't even think the would injury or not it would matter. I just think I think we've seen Diggs peak already.
Yeah.
I think he got figured out early. They figured him out. Shannon Sharp kind of helped him early on, and so I don't really I didn't really have a lot of faith in him anyway. We saw his peak early. His peak was actually before Bland broke the single season pick six. Like that year, he got 11 picks. That was his peak. He never touched that, even close to that. He ain't even been close to that type of player again. That was his peak because he was just a young, fresh cornerback, and they had really, really, really good hands. Really, really, really good hands. But when they found out if you be aggressive with him, you can get him, or if you double move him, you can get him. Because he's gonna jump. He's gonna play the ball every time because he wants the big play instead of just covering, and playing his true. He wants the big play. Kind of like Deontay Wilder, the boxer. He always looking for the knockout. And by the time he think he got it, he even lost the fight already. That's Diggs. Diggs look for the big play. So I don't think it was that 1 through 5 don't matter because they'll never get back to that. That him and Bland duo. I don't even think Diggs is here full 2025 season. Honestly, bro, he's gonna miss most of the season on injury. Then he probably get traded. He was down there depressed in Florida. Trayvon had to go down there and see him. Not Trayvon, Trayvon. Parsons had to go down there and see him. Once you talking about you football depressed, man, you out of it, bro.
Sure, he said that.
Yeah. Michael, he was depressed in Florida while he was rehabbing. Michael had to go check on him, to get his head back in. He was down there in Florida depressed, but he got a hip hop groupie pregnant. She bought a $250,000 car and she broke up with him.
I wish I can get paid $100 million, be in South Beach, and get depressed. That's a pretty nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, Parsons flew down there. So once you football depressed, man, you're out of it, man. The 2 injuries and just down there on the beach, where guaranteed 70 million depressed. He out of it, bro. He's gonna play football, but you'll never see that Trayvon again. That's
Mhm.
over. And I agree with Savage. Mike Fisher strokes Jerry. He been stroking Jerry 30 years. He been in the Dallas. He been 30 years stroking Jerry, bro. 30 years. He got his book in the Star where they got our 5 trophies at. He got his book in there too. Like that means something. Like he's ridiculous. Don't trust nothing Mike Fisher say. Like nah.
I called him out like a year ago. I'm like, bro, all you do is like you stroke the Joneses. I'm like,
Yep.
you never say one thing bad about them.
Because
And honestly, I think his football knowledge is bullshit.
He like to stay in the room. He been there 30 years doing that. 30
Well,
years.
30 yet. It's amazing you can make a career being a suck job for 30
That's
years.
who he is. Yep.
Like I said, I 100% believe he had a setback.
That guy, let me. Hey, G. Hampton.
Man, oh man. What's
What's
happening,
up?
fellas? How y'all doing? What's up, Phil?
What's going on, brother man?
Man, technical difficulties. You hear me? Damn.
Yeah, I know how
Spectrum.
that.
Gee.
I
What's
know
up,
how that.
Danny?
What's up, man? How's everything going?
So, I'm freeloading tonight, man, because, man, my internet service, these folks, they tripping on my service. So, guess what? I'm going to change it up tomorrow. I got somebody else. I'm changing providers. But anyway, what's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? Welcome to talking to Cal with the champ. Say, man, okay, I'm gonna ask you this question. Our third round pick, Sharon Revelle. There was a story came out from Sports Illustrated saying that he had a setback with his injury.
Yeah.
Now, going back to April 20, well, 27, 28, whatever day it was, when the Cowboys drafted him with the third round pick, and knowing that he had that coming off of an HCL injury, now three couple months later, do you think that was a stupid draft pick?
Well, dude, stupid is what stupid does. I mean, we did it with Jalen Smith. I mean, he had a drop foot. We brought him in. So, we brought in Leighton Vander Esch. He had neck issues. So it's what we do, man. I mean, we think we're getting them for a discount, but here we are, man. We're going through I mean, it's a revolving door, man. That's what we do. I'm not surprised. Let me say this. I hate it that it happened to him, man, but this is the risk that you take when you get an injured player, man.
Imagine the ego you gotta have to know that a linebacker's worst injury is their neck, and you bring in Vander Esch and Damone Clark. Jerry ego's so ridiculous. Like, why would I did a video soon as we drafted Vander Esch, still on my channel now, saying he had neck issues because I know he had it at Boise State. And then with the Damone Clark situation, his was a lot worse. Like, I don't know what Jerry be thinking. He think he's this savior. They got it's a gimmick. Look at their doctor. He's on the sideline with a suit and a cowboy hat on every game. It's a gimmick, man. And look, Jalen Smith had one decent year with Vander Esch. The year before he was okay, but him and Vander Esch was probably the best linebacker duo that 1 year. And the man can't stay on the team right now to save his life, man. And Damone Clark, when have you heard his name?
That's another one.
Damone Clark, he had spine surgery.
He avoids contact. Like, he avoids contact big time, Damone Clark.
A lot of this stuff, that's why when we talk about, and on one show, I can't remember which one it was. One of the shows me and Corner was going head to head on. I can't remember. We go head to head every week. But it was something about the ownership, and I was like, man, I said, even when sometimes, we were talking about the blame, and I said, well, sometimes we've been down this road before, and that's why I have my reservations about the Pickens pick. It's not about him. It's about Jerry for me, because every time we go down this road, sometimes there's a piece that Jerry leaves off. It's not always about Prescott. He screws up a lot, but even when we have this, we don't have that. And that always seemed to be the issue with Jerry. It's always Jerry's fault. Even when we had the good teams a few years ago, our defense we had safety playing linebackers. There's a lot of things that we could. There's a lot of times we could have stopped the run, and we had the right guys there. We had small guys. The offensive line was on the other team laughing. They was pushing those little guys like lawnmowers, man. And they just running the ball. And for me, I understand a lot of people don't agree with me, but I still feel like Micah's playing out of position. That's a Jerry thing. So the Pickens thing ain't more so about Dak and him not having a connection or Dak not good enough to do this. That plays a part in it too. But a lot of this is Jerry, because third round, all the needs we have, you bring in a guy coming off an I don't know what it is about Jerry and these injuries. Now, what if that hurt us in the long run?
Well, it has. But that's what happens when you have a GM that has no fear of being fired. He's going to make these. He's going to make these picks
because of that guy. It could be anything. So a lot of our self-inflicted wounds, even when we look like we could be there, Jerry's right there with a roadblock. Like, nah, not so fast. Jerry plays a big part in this team's lack of success. It's not just the team; it's him too. It's Jerry also, man.
But how much do you think Will McClay we gotta factor into?
Don't get me started. I'm having a good day. Please don't get me started on Will McClay, because one time, Zach Martin. That's it.
No, I agree. I agree.
Will McClay had a big part in this. This is what he do. He had a big part in this, because Jerry does not know a Jonathan Minga.
No, I agree.
Jerry don't know who that is. We always say, "Oh, we had him graded high." Look, you're terrible. You're terrible at it.
But you know what? Now Steven is the president of player personnel, and Will McClay is the vice president.
Bro, listen, bro. Stephen Jones ain't scouting no player. He just taking credit.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
Will McClay is boots on the ground every year. That's why I wish when the Texans offered him that what you call role, he would have went.
The GM.
When the Texans offered him that GM role, I wish he would have went, man. Man, dude holding us back. Look at our drafts, man. Look at these drafts, bro. They are bad.
I mean,
We haven't hit. They're bad. Parsons failed to. We got Parsons because the Cowboys, they always run their mouth about who they want, about the JC, the Horn kid, and the Pat Surtain. Everybody knew we wanted them. Everybody knew we wanted Surtain. They were like, nope. They knew we wanted Horn. They were like, nope. And then we got Parsons.
we traded back.
I still, because those guys was gone.
Exactly.
CD, I don't know how he dropped, but he would have been gone.
That was pure luck.
That's pure luck. Now, like I asked last week, if CD is gone and Parsons is gone, where are we right now?
Two wins.
We haven't been drafting good. We haven't been drafting good, man. You know, we haven't been drafting good, and I hate. And sometimes just because you like the Booker kid, we know how Alabama offensive linemen do in the NFL. I'm not saying Booker's going to be bad, but what I'm saying is I do know that there was a better offensive lineman still on the board that I know for sure that will last.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope he works for the sake of our team, you know, because I'm a Cowboy fan, so I hope he works. But man, it just be so many things that happen that aren't the players' fault, man, behind the scenes that we leave out sometimes, man, and it sucks, bro.
Okay. Sam,
Real quick,
let me ask you a question real quick. Okay, what was that? The name of that the receiver, the first round that Cowboy fans wanted to get from Arizona.
T-Mac?
Yeah, him. Okay, ask all three of y'all questions, same question, but y'all can answer it. If the Cowboys would have drafted him with the first round pick instead of Booker, do you think that the Cowboys could have used that pick they got from Pickens on a veteran offensive lineman or a defensive tackle instead?
They could have. I mean, I'm not mad at the Booker pick. I'm not mad, but I thought that's what they were going to do. I thought they was going to bring in veteran linemen right now and get a bunch of skilled players. This was a year I thought that they should have brought in mostly skilled players. But yeah, and I guess it worked out for us. I mean, before we knew we was going to get George Pickens, yeah, man, it was like dismal. We didn't know what we had, but yeah, I mean, and I know we're talking about Jerry Jones and the front office, but man, this is the prime example of coaching. I mean, you have businessmen making coaching decisions.
Yeah.
And prime example, Stephen Jones, he do have a degree in engineering, and he trying to run a football team.
He has a degree in sniffing used jock straps, man. That's what he does in the locker room, man. When no one's looking, he sniffs the used jocks, man.
I like that, G. Hampton, man. I like that analogy.
Yeah, Phil, that's what it is. You have businessmen making coaching decisions. And if they would let the coaches make the decision, we'll be better off. But every time it's Stephen Jones and it's Jerry Jones. For whatever reason, they want to put on the cowboy cap, put on a Wilson carry clipboard like their coaches. This is results. This is why we have, let's go back to when Jerry said, I can get anybody to coach this team and take us to a Super Bowl. It hasn't happened. Yeah. Because we got to remember who Jimmy Johnson was. He was a coach, and he made all the decisions. So Jerry felt that he could do the same thing that Jimmy did. It was ego. Again, ego. 30 years later, here we are. We're still looking for a Super Bowl.
Me personally, if they were going to go wide receiver at 12 and they weren't going to pick Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State, me personally, I would have drafted Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. He's perfect wide receiver too. He blew up at Ohio State, and he's turning a million heads, man. So now Arizona has Marvin Harrison. They have that connection back, and we could have had Lamb and Ibuka, and then we could have got a guard in round 2 with left tackle flexibility. Tyler Booker is just a right guard. That's it. And I don't know why, but he's like on the Dallas diet. He played at 350 at Alabama. I guess they all want to get trim. Trim. He's down to 330. What's up with all these guys like dropping like that's a pretty big significant weight loss in a few
Well,
months.
see, here's the thing, though, Danny, man. It's different in the pros. It's a career now. It's not even sports anymore, man. These are jobs, and I say that to say this: these guys are not hitting the weight room like they used to in college. That was part of the program. You had the midnight workouts, you had the early morning workouts in college. Now, I mean, that's what happened to Mozzie. Mozzie stayed in the weight room. Now we're at the point where now you move into a job. Let's think about it. How often do these guys get in the gym throughout the regular season? It doesn't happen. They'll probably gain the weight in the off season, but come regular season, there's no training camp like where they're doing those midnight workouts like they do in college. So yeah, they're gonna lose weight. They're definitely gonna lose weight, but like I said, I still think I'd rather for my defensive lineman to be at 3 something. I can handle Brooks. Is it Booker? It's Booker. At 330, I mean, maybe they want his feet a little quicker. I don't know, but yeah, man, it's different. It's just different now. This is a career now. It's not the sport anymore. It's a job.
I mean, he's not coming from a Division 3. He's not coming from a Division 3 program. He was at a football factory all 4 years in high school, IMG, where basically you practice to be a football player every day. And then Bama for 2 years.
But do you want your offensive lineman 330?
No, I'll take him bigger. I have no problem with
it's kind of big.
I have no problem with a guard at 350. But okay, he's 6'5". It's not like he's 6'1", 6'2".
The NFL is fast now. This ain't the 90s.
Yeah.
Newton and Leon let them guys was 330, 350, 360. These defensive guys are small and quick now. I don't want no big old 355-pound lineman out there huffing and puffing. I need him to be playing all sprint, all down. That's why Tyron, Jason Peters, those ones fat guys.
The Eagles, their right guard last year was 370 pounds.
But
we can't do what the Eagles do, man. That's what bothers me. I don't know why we want to keep comparing ourselves. I care less about what Philadelphia is doing. I care less. We need our own identity. Find our own identity. I can care less what Philadelphia is doing, what Washington is doing. Find our identity. And right now, to what I'm seeing right now is Brian Schottenheimer is trying to create a culture. Basically, Michael Irvin said it best. What they're doing is all about competition and playing under pressure. Everything they do is competing against one another. Everything that they do, they're playing under pressure. So I like the culture. So we have to find our own identity. We can't try to mimic what somebody else. It might work for them, but it might not work for us. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
I get that, but
I know what they're doing over there. But
was basic X's and O's. All they did was beef up the O-line and D-line. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They just kept on throwing picks at O-line and D-line.
But you know what? But I think what really helped out the Eagles was when they brought in Barkley as well too.
Saquon, which we could have done and we didn't.
Yeah, they brought him in. That definitely changed their whole offensive play. But
the O-line still gotta be good.
But as for the Cowboys, yes, that's the problem. See now with Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, who's gonna have a better year in my opinion, and Booker, those three interior, I think my opinion, they should be all right. My concern is still with the bookends. Tyler Guiding. And still now we still got his money. It was from his run blocking, not his pass protection.
I don't know.
It was. It was.
I
When he
don't know,
got his
cause
money, it was from.
I don't know.
Still is not a good pass, but not a good
Listen,
pass blocker.
I'm not the biggest Steele fan, but the year before he got paid, he did a damn good job protecting Dak. I can't lie.
Yeah, but I also remember
He
who
did
was on his
good.
side too. It was Zach.
But
It was
but
Zach
he
Martin.
still I can't lie. He still did good. I'm not a big Steele fan, but
Right.
Dak Prescott was not sacked a lot from that side that year. Steele played ball. He played ball. I can't lie. And yes, he digressed too. But hopefully he's better. I want all them guys to be better. It's our team, so I'm not gonna sit here and crap on them and just say they trash and we need to be like this. No, I want them to be better. I want them to protect Dak, who's probably injury prone now. I want our running game to look good with the new offensive line. I hope Booker work out. I hope all this stuff works. But if you don't mind, Champ, I got a question for G. Hampton.
Correct.
Do you think, honestly, that this Pickens thing, do you think this will be any different than us bringing in Coop or Randall Cobb or Brandon Cooks in the past? And if so, tell me why. Yes or no?
What I think it's going to be different. I can't tell you if it's going to be better. I can't. It's
Okay.
still too early. But it will. I think it's going. And the reason I say it's going to be different is because we got Clayton Adams. Clayton Adams. If you look what he did with James Conner over at Arizona, and when we played at Arizona, man, James Conner almost gashed us for almost 200 yards. And if you look at Clayton Adams' uh, scheme along with Connor Riley. We got to talk about Connor Riley too. He was the reason Deuce Vaughn was getting 12 and 14 and 1,100 yards a year. So it's going to definitely be different. Mike McCarthy, his offense was just basically outdated, man. You know, it was just outdated. You know, you trying to run, you know, up the middle. It was, you know, you'd even look at your number two. Basically, with Mike McCarthy, it was a tight end. It was Ferguson and it was CeeDee Lamb. You know, and you know when we look at Amari Cooper, who was it? It was who was coach then? Was it Garrett? No,
Yeah,
who was it?
Garrett, Jason Garrett.
Yeah. So it's going to be different, but I can't tell you exactly if it's going to be better. Now, just thinking about it, it should be better. It should be better because if we're going to run the ball like we say we're going to run the ball, that should take pressure off of Dak in order to open up the passing game. I think with Pickens, to me, I see two number one receivers. I really do. But it's just all about the scheme. They're going to have to create an offense that fits Dak. When we look at Dak was really, really good in the play action. We got away from it. Everything was pretty much coming from shotgun. We kill more five wide, throw it deep, and we thought about running. But if they can get back to what Dak likes to, what he does best, and put him in a position, and you create a running game with all these running backs that we have, and whoever is going to be on the team, so be it. But if they create that running team that we need, yeah, it should be better. And Brian has been there, almost 3 years, almost 4 years now, and he's seen both sides. You know, so hopefully he's learned something. I mean, he talks a damn good game, Phil, but
Yeah,
it's
but
still
so
early.
who's
We talking about shirt and shorts and helmet. That's nothing. We'll see when they get on the field, you know. So it'll be different.
What you think about Uncensored saying how is it outdated? We went 12-5 3 years.
Say that again.
Uncensored saying how is it an outdated offense when we went 12-5 3 years in a row?
Well, when Mike. Okay, let me just say this: when Mike McCarthy took over the offensive plays, that last year, I'm referring to last year. But when we had Kellen Moore, yeah, we went 12-5. But when I look at and not only that, but we have to look at the injuries too. I'm not going to also put it all on Mike McCarthy, but let me just say it should be different. I don't know if it's going to be better, but if they can get that running game, and I know Clayton Adams is one that loves to run the ball, along with Connor Riley, it should make it a little easier for that.
I just have a hard time, honestly, and I've been saying this for weeks. I have a hard time believing Jerry gave Dak that money just to turn around and hand that ball off when CeeDee Lamb make that much, and he just brought in another high caliber receiver. I have a hard time believing that we just gonna turn around and hand that ball off with Pickens, Lamb, and Dak making that type of money. I can't believe he paying Dak $60 million a year to turn around. Jerry like Showtime. Ain't no bigger Showtime than two potential number one receivers creating great plays. I ain't want to sell Pickens jersey. Pickens ain't gonna sell jersey just by running empty routes. Now I want the running game to work because I'd rather them turn around and pass and Dak throwing 40 times. I want to run. I want these young running backs to run it. But I just have a hard time believing Jerry really is going to do that with what our passing game could potentially look like now.
Well, you know what? Okay. But outside of Lamb and Pickens, who's going to be the third wide receiver?
Hey, it's competition, baby.
Yeah,
It's competition.
I agree with that competition.
It's competition. It's let may the best man win the third position. You got a plethora of receivers.
Hey, we got uncensored Cowboy in.
I gotta come in here and correct some facts, man. I'm hearing some blasphemous stuff on this channel right now.
What you got?
People saying Mike McCarthy's 12-5 Dak MVP runner-up offense was outdated because Dak Prescott started throwing picks in the red zone.
Well, here's the deal, my brother. What I'm saying, and like I just told Fifth, I'm referring it to the last season. And the last season was, and then I just corrected myself. I said because there was a lot of injuries. As far now, if we want to go that far and talk about the 12-5, we could put it on Dak. Regular season is that.
The reason I bring it up,
go ahead.
This is the second time I've heard the Mike McCarthy's offense was outdated. And I get that the first two seasons, 2021 and 2022, was Kellen Moore calling plays. But 2023, Dak played his best year since 2017 with Mike McCarthy calling plays.
Now Mike McCarthy called plays last season.
Mike McCarthy called plays in 2023. 2023, he called plays because what's his name was in San Diego. Mike McCarthy was calling plays.
Yeah, Kellen Moore
was in San Diego.
Because what he did, he kind of dumbed it down so that Dak could be comfortable with it.
No matter what he did, Mike McCarthy had Dak Prescott in week 15 before he fell off the cliff the last 2 weeks in the MVP conversation. He hadn't had that since his first 2 years in the league.
Okay, so we can put it on Dak.
But what I'm saying is Mike McCarthy squeezed Dak Prescott like a grape. He got every little bit out of him. And when he got to the playoffs, he did what Dak Prescott does in the playoffs. Now, I do blame Mike McCarthy for not having that. That was a total team failure against Green Bay. There wasn't one player on that field, probably outside of CeeDee Lamb, that was prepared to play that game that day. Not even Michael Parsons, because what did he have? One tackle the entire game?
Yeah. Ferguson had 3 TDs.
So I will blame Mike McCarthy for failing a head coach for getting his team prepared. But I'm not going to say his offense is outdated.
So why do we get rid of him?
Because you can have coaches that are successful, but they message wears thin and the players stop responding to it. But that same coach can pick up and go to a different organization with that same offense, that same philosophy, and win there.
He hadn't got a coaching job yet.
But Dak Prescott, and trust me, Fifth will tell you, I called that shit out last year. But there are coaches that constantly move and get fired and move around this league. You know, it's a coaching carousel. It's the same coaches that get fired and move over and over and over again. They get the same opportunities, while certain coaches can never even get an interview. Mike McCarthy was handpicked to be in this organization. And Jerry Jones didn't want to fire him. Yeah. Mike McCarthy didn't want to agree to the terms that Jerry Jones had. Jerry Jones didn't want to get rid of him.
He wanted
Mike McCarthy called those suckers up in Chicago and told them to put out a stupid ass bullshit report that they were interested in Mike McCarthy to try to put pressure on Jerry Jones. And when Jerry Jones didn't blink, and called his bluff, Mike McCarthy never even interviewed in Chicago after that. It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
I'll
But
I'll I'll say this: Kellen Moore play calling was better than McCarthy.
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm not saying Kellen Moore play calling wasn't. What my argument was is that people have to be honest with the narrative that Mike McCarthy, his message might have ran thin in this organization, but I don't think he put together a bad offense. I just think that Dak Prescott has a limit to what you can get out of him,
I
which is
think,
regular season.
and I think that's what good
But
coaching come in at. When you know
yeah,
your back limits, you have to be better. I think Mike McCarthy didn't keep up with. That's why Green Bay got rid of him, because he didn't want to keep up with the times, and he
that's
finally
what I.
admitted
He
that he
was
said, "Oh, I'm with it now. I got the analytics. I'm ready to be a coach again." And I think
Exactly.
he took over play calling. He came in and showed us the same crap that he had been doing for the first reason he got fired. Now I'm not gonna use the word outdated, but he ain't show me nothing new. I ain't seen nothing new
No,
from
Well,
McCarthy with
that's
the
outdated.
offense in
Both
20.
things are true. What's
Well,
happening
he
with
didn't in 2023. I didn't see McCarthy show me nothing that said "woo wee." That's
Nope.
different. We ain't never seen that from the
now,
Cowboys.
fifth, we had this conversation before. He tried to institute those things. Dak Prescott wasn't able to execute that and had to go back to the
He
simpler offense.
he tried to implement what he had with Aaron Rodgers. That's what
Yep.
he tried to bring in. And
that's
Jerry said, "Wait a minute, that's too complex for my quarterback. You got to be a good coach and know what you need to do for your quarterback." And I
And,
think that's where he
and he
lacked
did.
it.
That's right.
He simplified it back down to the basics and got this dude into an MVP race.
But
You're asking to see something new. He tried to implement what Rodgers was doing, which would have
but
been
see,
new in Dallas.
why are you trying to implement something 10 years old? Dak Prescott ain't Aaron Rodgers. Dak
man,
Prescott not Aaron Rodgers. That's like me. That's like me telling Terrence Steele go out there and play like Lane Johnson. You
both things
can't
can be
do
true,
that.
man.
You can't. You
I
can't
I,
implement what
I
Aaron
understand
Rodgers did.
that, Fish.
He
But
Okay,
what
tried.
I'm
No, no.
saying,
I'm just
you
keep.
were
I'm fair. I'm the mayor of fair. He did try to bring in what he did with Aaron Rodgers.
which would have been new.
I
Which would have been
No,
new.
no, it
no,
wouldn't have been new.
No,
no.
That's not new.
no.
That's
It
not
would have
new.
been new in Dallas. It
he's
would have
a
been new for
cowboy.
Dallas.
It
No.
wouldn't have been new to
We
the
talking about we
NFL.
talking about we talking about the evolution.
It
We
would
there
have
talking
been.
about
is
the
only so
evolution.
much you can do in football, bro. You
It,
run the same formations, you run different looks out of the same formations. The defense, there's only so many defenses you can run. There's only so many offensive plays. You just put window dressing
So
on them.
here's the deal now. If we look at Sean McVay, we look at Shanahan. See, they all come from the same coaching tree.
yeah,
They run that motion offense. That's new.
there you go.
That's new. That
Motion
is new,
offense
and
is
that's
not new. That's
no,
not a
no,
new
no, no.
offense.
But that's what everybody's running now. It may not be new, but that's what everybody's running.
But you guys
And
just said that you don't want to do what other people did. You want Dallas to have their own
Well,
identity.
well, not technically what they do, but it's what the NFL as a whole has. That's how the
there
NFL
you go.
upgraded.
Right.
A 20 a
Because it
20
is a
a
copycat
20
league.
a 2014 Tahoe and a 2015 Tahoe look alike, but there are different features on them.
We say, all right, I'm gonna go off chip. It's a copycat league. But when Savage says let's get offensive linemen similar to Philly, no, we don't want to do that. We want our own identity. It's a copycat league. That's how Philly won the championship. You implement the model that just won the
But
championship.
but hold on, so this is the thing, bro. It depends. So if you're gonna copycat base, you got to have the same personnel that Philly has.
but
But you
it's
can't snap
So
your
basic
fingers.
SEO.
You gotta build it.
if
You
we're
build
not
to
running
that.
that type of offense, you cannot. You see what I'm saying? You try to. So if we're gonna mimic somebody, well, we got to do exactly what Philly do. We got to go get this type of lineman, and we got to run these type of plays. Dude, everybody don't fit the same scheme. They
I
don't.
understand that, but why
Okay,
for the last 30
okay.
years
I
we only
got a question.
trade for why is it real
Hold on.
quick?
What you got, Dan?
Wait,
30 years
hold
for the
on.
last 30 years, we only trade for wide receivers. Joey Galloway, 2 number ones, Roy Williams, a 1 and something else, Amari Cooper, a 1, and then now we gave up a 3 and a 5 for 17 names.
I don't have a problem with it.
But how can you say that with all the free agents we have? How can you think we're one player away? Our backfield, our defensive backfield looks like MASH. It looks like MASH unit.
Well, you know what? The thing about it, though, Danny, we're not the only team that Let me name one solid team that's out there that's solid on both sides of the ball. Name one team that's solid.
Philadelphia.
They lost some players too, didn't it? But okay, if you say that, where we go, going back.
They lost their right guard, and they lost a backup defensive tackle.
It's the offseason. Everybody lost players.
Right.
Then
Exactly.
Drafted.
So there's not a juggernaut team out there right now. Everybody lost players.
No, everybody lost games last year, so there's not a juggernaut. Everybody can
Right.
be beat.
Right.
But you model your team after the way the Super Bowl champs are winning. In the
Dude,
latest
if you don't have the personnel, you can't do that if you don't have the personnel, bro.
You don't build it in 1 year. But you can start drafting the model it. We might not have the players to run the motion offense. We might not have those players. But you start drafting the model that type of offense. I don't care what offense they want to run.
If we modeling our player after the Super Bowl, then we just drafted 2 running backs, and Philly ran their way to the Super Bowl. So if that's the case, then the Cowboys doing the right, ain't it?
There you go. I'm not complaining about that. What I'm saying is, it's a copycat league, like Champ said. So Dallas is going to have an identity, but it's going to be an identity similar to another team because you're going to have a model out there. Football's been played too long. You're not going to have something new. You can put a window dressing on it, but when the ball is snapped, it's going to be the same routes, the same formations.
I don't agree with that.
But let me ask you a question.
What new formation has came up in the last 3 years? Name one.
No, you making it complex to try to make yourself right.
I'm not. Football is. I'm actually telling you it's basic X's and O's. I'm telling you it's not complex. It's the same basic formations.
Let me ask you a quick question.
But
every
it
single
takes personnel though.
But let me real quick. There's a playbook.
What's up, brother?
What's happening with
Sean, there's a playbook this thick. Every single play an offensive coach designs. Isn't it designed to score a touchdown? Every single offensive play.
Of course.
So, but what I'm trying to say is when you're 29th stopping the run, every one of your corners is coming off a serious injury. Your safeties are horrendous. Your linebackers weigh more than your defensive ends. And you go out and you give up a 3 and a 5 for a wide receiver for 17 games.
I don't.
So again, you're still and you're saying that you're looking at that as a team in general. You're not even counting. You're not implementing the injuries we had. That's why I had to put that as a factor because we had a lot of injuries. And then we brought Zimmer in, and Zimmer couldn't even run the offense he wanted. He said it himself, "I wish I would have done things my way." Yeah. So that tells me that Jerry wanted him to do the defense a certain way. So yeah, you're going to be 29. Okay, but you gave the man 1 season.
The 2 number 1s for Joey Galloway. Did that work out for us?
I can't remember, bro.
Okay, the 1 plus the 3 we gave Roy Williams. Did that work out? We had Terrell Owens and Roy Williams. Did that work out for us?
But what you're saying is kind of feeding into Jerry because isn't he trying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do?
No, he's not. He's going out and
Terrell Owens isn't trying?
No, I'm saying he's going out and getting certain players that are going to sell jerseys.
But he.
Why do we only
I agree with that, but we still gotta say he's trying though. We just drafted 3 offensive linemen in the first round in the last 4 years. Tyler Guy and Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker. Those are 3 first rounders to help Dak in the running. That's trying. I'm the mayor of fair. I got to keep it real. That's
okay.
Trying.
But how was our defensive line?
I'm with you on the Pickens. I'm with you on that, but we can't say we ain't been trying.
But look at our linebackers. Our linebackers are bigger than our defensive ends.
I'm with you on that. That's why I feel like Jerry holds us back in certain parts.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, we can't say that ain't been no giving up a first round for Coop was trying. Going to get trying.
I agree. They've been trying.
No, they
stay out. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all a question.
Always messes up the good debate.
No, they're still going on, man. They're still going debate. Do you think Jerry puts too much emphasis on the offense and just say 100%. The hell with the defense?
100%.
No. Look at the roster. Look at the roster. Defense is always deep in depth. You go look at the roster and look how deep the defense is. The offense is what's shouting. Now, this is the first year I would say that we have a decent amount of competition on offense, but the defense is always go and look at the roster and look how deep. Now, this might be the first year that the offense is pretty much caught up to the defense, but it's always been a defense. I'm like, damn, why is everybody on this defense? We have nobody on this offense. So I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that.
But okay, when Romo was here, 70% of the salary cap.
That was offense.
Thank you.
There's more money on the offense right now than the defense.
Why are we talking about Romo era for?
Yeah, man.
Because that's where Jerry trades for skill. He trades for skill positions. Let's be honest. Who's going to sell more jerseys, a wide receiver or a defensive tackle?
Man,
receiver, of course, but I mean,
Eshan, what you think? You think we cater more to the offense or defense?
I definitely think the offense, man, because I'm not saying that it's completely lopsided, but look, and to the point of Jerry trying, he tries in spots, man. This guy is a master fucking manipulator, man. Like, he'll try in certain areas, but don't try in other areas. Like, he'll try with getting, to your point, Amari Cooper or, or George Pickens or, the numerous CD for that matter. We can go down that list. But he'll also spit in our face by saying that Derrick Henry wouldn't fit our system. So we got to be fair and say that it's not like I'll put it this way. He tries in certain areas. He doesn't try in other areas. And I just think, but we do cater to the offense. Now, that does not mean he completely just lets the defense go. I'm not saying that, but let's be honest here. We all know that his entire thing is about money and about, there's a reason, and I've said this before, he signed Dak not because of football. He signed Dak because Dak sells jerseys, and he knows, and we all know it. So, let's be honest about that absolutely money is the main thing he said it on the Netflix special that football is not even.
That blew my mind, man.
I forget exactly what he said, but
he's a businessman.
Yeah,
he's a businessman. And until he allows his coaches to coach, we're going to continue to see the same thing.
Without question.
So why do we talk about culture change then if it's going to be the same old same?
Say it again.
And we cannot, to Uncensored's point, we cannot talk about culture change as long as Jerry Jones is the top guy. Because my entire thing with culture change, Hampton, is I don't blame Schottenheimer for anything he's trying to do. Let me be clear about that. But let's be honest and let's be clear. Schottenheimer does not run the Cowboys. We know this. There's a reason that he can only do so much, right? And so no matter what he tries to do, he can't, at some point in time this season, no matter how the rest of the offseason goes, it could go perfect for Schottenheimer. Great. At some point in time, when we lose our first game, no matter how the season goes, all of us here know that Jerry Jones is going to undermine Schottenheimer at some point this season, no matter whether we go 12-5 or we go 1-16. It'll happen at some point. So with that in mind, I can't say that Schottenheimer is implementing this culture change because he doesn't run the Cowboys. He's not at the top. And the players know this too, that there's a reason that we can say what we want about Jason Garrett, about him being a puppet, 100% agreed. We can say what we want about McCarthy being a puppet, 100% agreed. We've all said that. We're not bringing anything new to the table by saying that. But no matter how much of a puppet they may be, we all know that players have access to completely undermine the coach and go to the owner. So what's the coach really going to do? Why would this be different? Why all of a sudden, 29 years in, is Jerry all of a sudden going to give Schottenheimer complete authority to do what he wants to do when he hasn't done it for 29 years? So why now instead of before? That doesn't compute to me. You know what I mean? So I don't see, not trying to be negative here, but I'm just being honest. I just don't see it. Culture change means it has to start at the top, and it cannot be done over a year. It has to be something consistent that is done over a span of years. And so I just don't buy that there's going to be a culture change no matter what Schottenheimer tries to do. So so I went on a little thing there, but that's just me being honest about that, man. I like what Schottenheimer is trying to do. I want him to succeed. I think we all want him to succeed. But he can only do so much, man. And I don't think that the players fear him enough for him to be able to implement a culture change. For him to take Dak Prescott out to Greek dancing or the quarterbacks to Greek dancing, This is a rhetorical question, but feel free to answer. Does that have anything to do with Dak throwing picks in a playoff game? It doesn't. We all know it doesn't have anything to do with the decision making on the football field. Sure, it may bring the team together, but at the end of the day, the players have to play the game. And these guys are not, for whatever reason, whether it's Dak, whether it's Micah, whether it's CD, whomever, these players don't step up when it matters most. And it starts at the very top, man. So that's it for me. But yeah, that's everything. I just don't see a culture change, man. I'm just being honest.
Good point.
I haven't. I'm gonna say they cater more to the defense.
No.
Because Dan Quinn went in that war room and kicked his feet up and just started picking players from Indian and everywhere. He picked cornerbacks galore. He was picking all, and McCarthy was just sitting there like, dang, I thought I was the head coach. That draft was
I'll
so
agree with you there.
defense heavy.
I agree.
It was ridiculous. When we look at it, bro, we draft more linebackers and cornerbacks that don't make it than anything.
Yeah.
How many late round linebackers and cornerbacks and defensive tackles that we draft that don't stay on this team when we need positions on a hell? What just last year? What year we didn't draft the running back when we brought Zeke back? We didn't even draft the running back. Like I'm gonna say we cater way more to that. I don't know why it's been like that. And I can say this year they finally did a little something different. But just watching this, it ain't been offense friendly, man. To be honest with you, it ain't been pretty because think about it. Since we drafted Lamb, what receiver had we drafted to put beside him? We just
was getting
to put beside
third
him.
rounders, fourth rounders.
I definitely agree with that, Fifth. I'm not disagreeing on that. But all I'm saying is Jerry prioritizes the splashy players. Is all I'm saying.
And as a businessman, you're supposed to. I'm not even mad at that. But my only pushback on Jerry is, I don't agree that his first priority is winning. Like G. Hampton said, he's a businessman that's putting on the coaching hat.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is, and that could have been a more better way to put it. That's his problem.
Sure.
That's his problem, man. Jerry has an issue with wanting to be in charge and want to take all the blame for winning. He don't want to take. I mean, he want all the praises for winning.
Without question. Yeah.
He don't want to praise his coaches or nothing. That's his issue. He can't get out the way. That's why I asked G. Hampton to do. We think it'll be any different than what we saw with Coop, and I just be worried it won't be because Jerry don't prioritize and winning. That's my only problem, man. I like the fact that him and CD gonna be out there, but I still agree with Savage that I hate that I feel like it's only going, like somebody brought up, Nate Dogg said it's gonna be a
1 year rental.
Robert Quinn thing. He come here, ball out, and probably go get paid somewhere else.
Do we know how many free agents we have next year?
I would love to keep him and CD Lamb together, man. That'll be great going forward, bro.
No, I think it'll be.
Man.
Yeah.
So Danny, how will we deal with that free agent next year? Since we're right where we are today, what's going to happen next year about this free agent? Since we're talking, you mentioned all the free agents. So how are you going to deal with that?
If Pickens has a good year, they'll pay Pickens. Ferguson will be gone. Bland will be gone. They'll probably franchise the kicker. Brock Hoffman will be gone. And, we'll score 21, 28 points, and we'll give up 45. Look, we have 5 draft picks for next year's draft already. You can't say F those picks. You can't in this league. You can't. You can't do that. I said never give Zach Martin the extension because all the young Dallas fans want the highest paid quarterback. We need $200 million wide receivers. We need both our corners to be $100 million. We got to have the highest paid we have to have the highest paid, most overrated player in the NFL, Micah Parsons. You can't pay everybody. So now, what do we do now when the middle of the offense is middle of the field is wide open, and Ferguson? Trey McBride from Arizona, the tight end, just got paid $18 million. That's the either franchise or that's the new tight end. So if Ferguson balls out, he's gone. Deron Bland, he's gone. Brock Hoffman, he's gone. And now we go into next year's draft with a 1, 2, and a couple of day 3 picks.
The reason we got these high pay players is because of who? The businessman. He decides to
No,
wait. He waits
no.
until Myles Garrett gets paid. And again, here we are. You can pay Micah now or you're going to pay him later. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to pay Micah. Whose fault is that? That's Jerry's fault. Whose fault was it when it came to Dak? Dak, we got him off a budget. We got him off a value meal. As a value meal. And guess what? We continue to wait and we have no choice but to pay that. So all this is brought on by the businessman. So we can't blame the player. It starts with not even the coach, it starts with the owner because his lackadaisical part as far as signing players. Here we are with Micah. What is he waiting on? I don't know. And personally, if I'm Michael, I'm not out there because guess what? If I get in, now Jerry say, "Oh yeah, we're going to pay you," but if I go out there and injure myself, if you have a quarter horse that's been winning all this time and then he goes out, what
has he done? You guys are putting Micah Parsons
I can't
on a
listen to that about
pedestal.
Michael, bro.
You put him on a pedestal,
and he is on a pedestal.
Does Micah Parsons vanish the second half of every single season?
Okay, but you know why? You know why he's vanishing? Because, like Phil said, he's playing out of position. But to be 6'2", 241 to play defensive end, of course he's going to run out of games.
Okay, but we gave him the option to play whatever position he wants, and he's playing edge because we know edges make $40 million plus.
He gets 14 sacks. He gets 14. So you're saying 14 sacks means nothing?
So what's TJ Watt worth? Because he's holding out too.
Hampton, Micah's a talented player, man. But look, he's going to get paid regardless. And if I was in his position, I absolutely would hold out too. If I was in his position too, get as much paper as you want to get. No beef with him on that side of things. But I can't agree that Micah's not like he doesn't show up when it counts most because he doesn't.
Because you got a linebacker. You have a linebacker playing defensive end.
Look,
he's a linebacker.
Time out. Let me finish what I'm saying. Is he a talented player? Absolutely, he's a talented player. But let's be honest. People use the fact that he's played wrong as an excuse. And let's be honest about that. Because if it were any other defensive player in his position, and is he talented? Of course he's talented. Does he get sacks? Sure, he gets sacks. I'm not disagreeing with that. But when it counts most, he doesn't show up. And that's all I'm saying. I don't know about Savage, but that's all I'm saying. And we can't let him off the hook is what I'm saying. I'm not that you are necessarily, but a lot of people let him off the hook because he's a talented player. And I just think the people still compare him to Lawrence Taylor, and that's stupid to me. I'm sorry, man. Like, I just can't rock with that shit. Is he talented? Sure, he's talented. Does he deserve to get paid based off of what he's done? Sure, yeah. And if I was in his position, I would take as much. Given the way that Jerry's handled all of these contracts, I would tell him to fuck off and give me as much money as I want. Like, honestly, if I was in Micah's position, like, and I'm being real about that.
Right,
so no problem with him getting his money, but let's be honest about the player that he's been. Is all I'm saying.
We have.
You know what? The thing about Parsons, I think the reason why he gets so much hate is because of his podcast. He won't shut the hell up.
Yeah, but even outside of his podcast plays a factor in his perception, yes. But in terms of play,
anyone feel he's a leader or a dog?
Not at all.
Dennis Savage, let me ask you something. Sure. If I'm a mechanic and I put your starter where your alternator supposed to be, you gonna blame that starter or the mechanic?
Okay, but no, you see, if you ask your starter where do you want to be, it came out with Mike Zimmer because we all bitched. Why was Micah playing end? Why was he playing a position out of position? And for the question,
they brought him in.
Yo, Micah Parsons is a product of the Dallas hype machine. Dak Prescott is a product of the Dallas hype machine. If Dak Prescott for the last 10 years would have been in Cleveland, he'd be out of the NFL. Like I said,
you can't. I mean, like you said, the man got 312 in 5 games.
There's two defensive ends right now, better than Michael Parsons, that are holding out also.
But you know what? But the only reason why Parsons were playing that position in the first place because Lawrence and Randy Gregory got injured, and they had and they had no other bodies to put there except for Parsons, and that's why they put him at that position.
And he balled out. But let's talk about this, man. Your average, I'm gonna tell you, DeMarcus Ware, and I stood right next to DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware is 6'6". 6'6".
Not even
Michael
close.
Parsons is 6'2", 240. So when we look at that defensive end, they're standing anywhere from 6'5" and up, bro. So yeah, you're saying, oh, well, he runs out of gas in the second half. Well, he's 6'2", 241. Now that falls on the coaches. The coaches should say, okay, second half, we're gonna slide you to linebacker. But you can't take that away from it because this man is balling out. And you can call him a dog and you can call him a leader. I am. But you're talking about a 6'2", 241 that can bend the edge and catch grass and get sacks. You cannot take that away from him.
An offensive tackle gets their hands on him, he's done.
But how many times do they have to put a double team on Michael Parsons?
How many times they don't?
But
And how many times is Michael Parsons doing? How many times is Michael Parsons doing this, holding his hand up because he's being held? Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Michael Parsons is the only defensive player in the history of the NFL that's got held.
So let me ask you this. So Danny, let me ask you this: is it that you don't like Micah, or are you going actually by stats? Because sometimes you get people that because they don't like someone, they will degrade them. But if you look at his numbers, now hold on, Danny. But if you look at his numbers, the numbers don't lie, man. You look at Dak numbers. Dak numbers does not lie. And you said if he was in Cleveland, if he did the same thing in Cleveland, he would still be playing today.
Time out. What's so great about Dak's numbers?
Dude,
he puts up great numbers. He just doesn't.
He put up great numbers. 4,000 yards. Come on, man. I mean, what are we talking? See, you're looking at the person. You're not looking at them. I see that right now, Danny. You're looking at the person, bro.
Let's go back to Micah. Let's go back to Micah.
Y'all know my opinion on stats.
You're looking at the person, bro.
So basically, guys like T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, guys.
What have T.J. Watt done? Has he won anything?
Nope.
I'm not even.
What have Myles Garrett? What has Myles Garrett won? Myles Garrett is the highest paid defensive end out there. What has he won?
I won't even go to Myles Garrett or TJ Watt. I go based off of what I see with Micah or Dak, man, or with any player for that matter, not just them.
Listen,
I'm just asking Danny. Danny, how can you sit there and say, look at Myles Garrett and look at you how can you look at those two and not look at Michael Parsons? And he's undersized.
So then why are we paying him? Why don't we have a coach that say you're a linebacker? Listen, Nick Saban had Micah Parsons pegged. You're a running back. And he doesn't have a defensive mindset. He doesn't.
What? Oh my gosh, bro.
You guys it's amazing. A Dallas Cowboy can get 14 sacks, and he deserves to be the highest paid. He deserves to be the highest paid in the NFL.
See,
How many other guys get 14 sacks and they're never mentioned?
What's the standard for sacks going on? Ain't it about 14, 15?
It's not about sacks. So let's get back to the guy Robert Quinn.
Come on, Danny. Danny, stop, bro. Stop, Danny.
Eshawn, real quick. Look it up. How many sacks did Robert Quinn have when the 1 year with us, where he got his 89?
Is it about sacks? Is it about sacks or is it not? Which one is it?
And Robert Quinn only played 1 season with us. 1 season, maybe 2.
What I'm getting at is he had a load of sacks and he was horrible against the run.
None of this shit
doesn't matter,
winning, bro. None of this shit is equating to wins.
It doesn't equate to wins.
I judge Michael Parsons on what I see on the field. And what I see on the field
is, so that's exactly what I'm saying. You're looking at what you see on the field, but you're not looking at his numbers.
So
you know what? In today's time, Danny, it's not even about winning the hardware anymore, brother. The NFL has made it about stats. That's how you get paid by your. You don't have to have a hardware. You don't have to have a hardware anymore, bro.
Okay, now I'm gonna let me finish. You asked me a question. I'm gonna give you an answer. What I see, okay, pros. 14 sacks. Pros, 14 sacks. Cons, let me finish. He's undersized. He wears down. The second half of every single season, he wears down. He quits on plays. We can show many plays he quits. Didn't he walk off the field during a fucking game?
Yeah,
Didn't he do that? Walked off the field. Versus the run, he gets pounded. If Micah Parsons played in Arizona, it would be just not phenomenal. This is why Jerry Jones is the smartest guy
I don't
in
know
the
about that,
world.
but I
know
mean,
about that.
look,
Come
look.
on,
Here-
man.
I don't
here's
know
the thing.
about that one.
Wait, time out. Let me just go and piece off it before you go, man. Look, man, Micah is absolute. I'm not gonna like. I won't compare to TJ Watt to Myles Garrett. I don't really give a flying fuck about either of those cats, nor do I watch them enough to comment about them. So I won't even go
Right.
down that shit. So look, this is just my opinion on Micah, man, and take it for what you will. I think Micah Parsons is an incredibly talented player who is. Look, I agree some with what Savage said, not entirely, some of it. I agree that he is a product of the Dallas Cowboy hype machine. That I do agree with because he talks more than I feel like he actually produces. For me, I'm not a stats guy, man. At the end of the day, I go by what I see on the field. Is he talented? Absolutely, he's talented. And is he played wrong? Absolutely, he's played wrong. I don't disagree with that. But at the end of the day, a player of his caliber, of his talent, when you're on that football field and when he makes plays, when he actually when he's getting sacks or whatever it is that you want to mention, you can see the difference it makes on the football game, right? When we can go to the Chiefs game, the 1999 rookie season game or whatever, and we can, when he actually is, producing on that level, you can see it. He doesn't consistently produce on that level towards the back half of the season. You can contribute that to him being tired, but at the end of the day, someone of his talent, you can see that difference on that football field, and I don't consistently see it towards the last half of the season. And if he's on the field, I can't use that as an excuse. I cannot use the fact that when it comes to a playoff game, you have one tackle, man. Like I just
then he says,
so. But is he talented? Yeah, no question.
Wait a minute. Danny Savage, name me five defensive end better than Parsons in the league right now.
I'll give you Myles Garrett. I'll give you TJ Watt.
Okay.
Hedrickson from Cincinnati. That's 3. And like I said, he's not an edge, man.
I said five.
Well, I'm at 3.
Don't stop. I said 5.
I'm at 3. So
this guy.
So he's in the top 5. There you
he's
go.
in the top 5. But stats ain't about it. How do you expect me to respect a man? We get blown out versus Green Bay. He had one tackle. Wait, let me finish. We got destroyed versus Green Bay. Michael Parsons got destroyed versus Green Bay. The following day, he said, "Oh, I was happy with the way I played."
And I have a big look. I have a huge problem with the fact with how Michael Parsons talks. Extremely talented player, like I said. I just think our fan base overrates him. I won't necessarily say he's overrated in a vacuum, but when you start comparing him to Lawrence Taylor, that's when I completely shut off, man. I can't go that far.
Man, I got my and see me and you. That was me and you always disagree that he's showing with the Lawrence Taylor thing because that's not Parsons' fault that they did that.
No, I agree.
He didn't come out and say I'm comparing myself to Lawrence Taylor.
No, I agree.
That's not his fault. My thing is about Parsons. I've been saying me and Corner go back and forth about this forever. Even 80 said, he's tired because he's like a Subaru climbing up a mountain. He's nowhere near these guys' size. These guys are way bigger than him.
Agreed.
And he's playing out of position. This is the organization fault.
You know what?
Playing Parsons right there. Are you gonna put me there? You know you're gonna have to pay me like that. Now, me as a player, I would feel like my best value at where I can produce the best set. But that's how he feels. If he want to play in the trenches right there, hey, cool. That's cool. I'm gonna critique you right there, bro. I'm gonna say you stunk up that Green Bay game. I'm gonna continue to say that. But he's definitely you will not say that he's not top 5.
No. You can't say that. Yeah.
He's definitely top 5.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question. Has what Micah Parsons last year were we 29th first to run?
But
what
that's
I'm trying
not
to get at
the
is
conversation.
what Micah Parsons, what he did, his performance. Where did that get us? Micah Parsons is the Dak Prescott of the defense.
I don't.
No, you can't say that because number one, our defense. Going back to that Green Bay game, how many 3-and-outs did we go? How many 3-and-outs did we go against the Green Bay defense? Stayed on the field. Come on, Danny. See, this is more of a personal thing with you because if you watch that
Let me ask
game,
you a question.
defense.
Why
No, hold on. Let
would
me finish. Defense stayed on the field when we played Green Bay, and that usually is how it was last year. Our offense didn't score any points last year. That means they had to rely so much on the defense. And you're talking about an undersized linebacker playing defense. I mean, of course he's going to get tired, dude. I mean, you're talking about a 6'2", and I'm gonna say this again, 240-pound linebacker playing defense. Kudos, because not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. But we're saying he tires out. Number one, how many points have we been putting up per game this last season when we had half the offense out? Defense stayed on the field, and no one is looking at that. We can't just look at, oh, he didn't play well this game. Well, let's look at the game overall. How many times did they never did get a chance to rest? They would go our offense would go 3 and out majority of the game, and the defense stayed on the game. Like Demarcus Lawrence said, he said, shit, we was tired. Hell, they stayed on the field.
So
You know what?
No other
Okay,
team.
you know what? This is another thing about this coming year. If the defense wants to get better, it's going to rely on the offense. That's why, me personally,
Yeah,
I've been saying that the Cowboys have to run the ball to control that
They
clock
got
to
to.
keep the defense off the field, and
Yeah.
and especially with this
Clock
undersized defensive lineman that they have.
And what they
Clock
did
management.
this draft, they went out and drafted another 6'2", 240-pound defensive.
Yep, they did. And
But here's the only thing, and in the I agree and I disagree. Like, I'm like a 50-50 on it, man. Look, the Packers game, let's be clear and let's be honest. The Packers game was an entire team loss from top to bottom, right? It was 48-16 at a point in that football game. So the offense shit the bed, the defense shit the bed all the way through, right? You know what I mean? But I just can't. My only point, man, is I disagree that Micah is the Dak Prescott of the defense. I think that's a little bit stretching it, to be honest, because Dak has never been the best player on offense. So that's ridiculous to me. I got to disagree about that, but that's stretching it for me.
Well,
but
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I get what you're trying to say, and I don't disagree with the sentiment. I just disagree with the Dak Prescott comparison. Dak is just on a
The
different.
reason he's not a linebacker because he's not smart enough to play linebacker.
That I
how
agree
do
with.
you know?
I agree with
How
that.
do you know? Danny, how do you know that?
That's what I said.
What are you basing that off?
How
When
many
Cow-
defense-
when-
okay, so
Danny,
Cowboys corner said
Danny,
that-
what are you basing that off of, Danny?
let me
when
finish.
Cowboys corner said that,
Okay.
that's what I said. I said, how do you know that?
So, because
They're going
he's
off
been
the rookie
through
year.
what? 3 defensive coordinators. He's been through what? How many defensive coordinators has Micah had now?
Okay, so what?
So let me finish. He's on his 3rd defensive coordinator, and has he got the green dot?
What?
Has he gotten the green dot?
What corner based it off of? I won't speak for Savage. What corner based off of was his rookie season. He played linebacker before he switched to defensive end. I think at this point, comparing him to his rookie season is a stretch. I agree, and I would say but Micah's publicly said he picked his position too. So
I've never heard that.
100%. It's 100%.
No, I don't know about you, Fifth.
I've never heard that.
100%.
Okay, but I mean, regardless of whether we say it or not, at the end of the day, he's on the field. You got to contribute.
I ain't never heard in NFL history of players that they picked their position.
1,000% he picked it with
I
Quinn.
never heard that.
Oh, it's Nate Dogg is gonna. I guarantee you, Nate Dogg is gonna make a video. 1,000%.
Cowboys champ just said the reason he got that position was when Randy Gregory went down and they slid him over.
It was Gregory. It was Gregory and Lawrence.
I got videos saying trade Parsons, but I'm a realist. His worst year was last year when the injuries was in. When he was injured and the rest of the team was in. That was his worst year. Other than that, it was 13 sacks, 13 and a half, 14.
He did say I'm not saying he picked his position may not be the right word, but he absolutely said that
he preferred.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He preferred to play
Me too. I would prefer too.
It wasn't Parsons, you're a linebacker. No, I'm a DN.
No. I'm not trying to make it.
But you know what? But you know what, guys? But you know what? The only reason why, if just say that Zimmer said no, Parsons. We're gonna put you at linebacker. You know who Parsons can go over his head is to the GM. And again,
But it wasn't
that's
that
the
serious though, Cowboys
no, it
champ.
wasn't
It wasn't that-
serious, but I'm just saying if they if Parsons is played correctly, you move him around in the 4-3. But be honest, Parsons is to me to be effective, the Cowboys should be running 3-4 type defense. Because especially with the small ends that they have, only problem is they don't have the girth on their defensive tackles.
No, on
It's
the
like
defensive
80,
tackle, no, we can't run no 3-4.
No,
Shit,
we
it's like
definitely don't have
it's
the
like 80
personnel.
said.
No, no,
80,
no. I'm saying for the type of player that Parson is. He best to me. He's best in a
So
3-4 type defense.
you're saying that he could play in a 3-4 defense, basically, right?
Yeah,
As an outside
yeah,
linebacker. Yes.
So how in the
yeah.
hell can you sit there and say he's not good? Not every defensive end can do that. You can't
Who?
take a
No,
defense.
he's
I'm telling you,
talented.
my son
He's-
played. My son came from college playing defensive end and had to go and play in the 3-4 under Wade Phillips. And he had to learn. That's a whole different scheme
Because
of trying to learn how to drop
3-4
back. Not too many
3-4
defensive ends can do that.
Because 3-4 outside linebackers are 6'2", 240 pounds.
you just said
What?
you just said he's not smart enough to play linebacker, Savage. So we shouldn't even be talking about that.
Wait, say that again.
You just said he's not smart enough to play linebacker.
Did he call the plays at Penn State? No.
Bro, we're
Of
going back
course
to
not.
college. Come on, man. We
Course
can't go
not.
back
I
to
know.
college, man.
Listen,
Man,
there's
man,
a
this
reason.
guy-
Listen, he was a great running back in high school. They should have left him there.
Chill, bro.
Really?
Chill,
Really?
bro.
Man,
It's
Really?
personal,
He's a
Danny.
product
It's
of
personal.
Come on,
Dallas.
man.
Man,
Come
we
on.
That's
gotta go back to
personal.
high school.
Has what Dak? All Dak stats. Listen. He's great regular season. He's great the last 60 seconds of a game. Any big game, Dak falls apart. They should put in his contract. He either has to smoke a joint, drink a bottle of wine, or take a Valium. One or the
Okay.
other.
Danny,
Talking about
okay,
two different
Danny,
things, man.
Danny, we get the constructive criticism that you give to that. Let me hear something that you like about the
He
players
ain't got
on the Dallas
nothing.
Cowboys.
He ain't got
Yeah,
nothing.
Say that again.
He
He
ain't
don't
got
got
nothing.
No, I want to hear
He got
something
nothing.
that Danny
He ain't
has
got
that he
nothing.
likes. What is it, Danny, that you like about the
You don't
Cowboys?
like nothing, man. I'm telling
I
you.
like
know
Tyler
them.
Smith at left guard. I like him. I like the two. I like the two rookie running backs we drafted this year. I like the defensive tackle from UCLA.
But you hadn't seen him play yet. You haven't even seen him
Yes, I
play.
have. Yes, I have. I've watched him the last 3 years.
Okay, so
That's
how
the-
can you
that's the
how can you
difference.
say that about Parson then?
Well,
And he balled out at Penn State.
I've watched him sit high. I've watched him in high school. I've watched him in college. He was in college, or his one job was to go forward. That's it. Cause mayhem. From the linebacker position, he didn't play defensive end in college. He
Right, we
played
know.
linebacker. So, but yet, once again, we like to move things around. We like to take Tyler Guyton from right tackle, throw him to left tackle. We like to take this guy, switch him to here. Parsons was a linebacker at Penn State. Leave him at linebacker.
You just said he can't play
Never said he can't
linebacker.
play it, though.
Can't.
Oh, this is great.
Wait,
This is
Simon,
great.
that's
I love it. I
second
love
place,
it.
man.
Barbershop
Well,
talk.
let me ask you a question. Why doesn't he wear the green dot? Because he's the leader of the team, right? The highest paid defensive
Man.
player. Why
Bottom
isn't
line,
he the defensive captain?
Michael Parsons, he's the best player on that side of the ball.
He the best. He the best
Who's
player.
calling the plays? Who
He's
knows
the best
plays?
player.
Who's calling the plays?
Man, I don't know, man.
I
He's
don't
the
fucking
best player.
I don't even know.
There's nobody that has produced the production that he's produced over the last.
I gotta
4
go.
years.
All right, man. Take it easy, man.
All
All
right,
right, man.
fellas.
Thanks for coming
All
on,
right.
man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Hey, we'll be back up next week.
Hey, GM, to come
Okay.
on Freaky Friday, man.
Yes, man. Come on
Okay.
Friday.
Well, send me the link. Send me the link, and
I
I'll
got
come
you.
on. Champ, send it to me.
I got you.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
For sure.
Later, guys.
I
All
like,
All right,
brother,
man.
Take it easy.
I like Lamb. I like Tyler Smith. Like Cooper Beebe.
I like BB.
I like
I
baby.
like Beebe.
I like Beebe.
I like BB, man. I think, man, you know what? I still have my reservation about him playing center, but I think this kid
He
is
did
going to be.
good. He did
Well,
good
no,
last
I'm
year.
not done yet. Wait a minute, I'm not done yet.
I'm
But I
sorry.
think this kid is going to be an All Pro at center.
I'm
Yes,
telling you.
I said it because his work ethics, man. I mean, just a video from last year when he was practicing with his mama to play center, and then the past year he did good. I mean, the sky's the limit for him.
I'm telling you,
Now,
who's going to have a bounce back season? Ferguson. Watch, man.
I have to see it to believe it with him, man. He had a bad year last
I
year.
hear you, but the reason why Schoolmaker looked better is because he was basically tight end number 2. So who was
Sure.
throwing him the ball the entire training camp, OTAs? Cooper Rush.
Sure.
That's why they had chemistry.
No, sure. I just can't get over the fact that Ferguson didn't have a touchdown last year, man. That's
Yeah.
a red flag to me.
But that's we would laugh and draft the day of the draft. We were laughing. We were going to say we were all saying, "Watch us draft a tight end next year."
Right.
Trey McBride just got what $18 million a year. That's the new standard for a tight end. So that's just Dallas's luck. And
hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me ask Nate Dogg. Watch that left tackle position is going to fuck up again this year. Just watch.
Man, you're trying to still move all pro
Nah,
at this
we
position,
can't.
man.
Watch.
Man, I can't move an all pro at that position, man. Come on, man.
You don't move an all pro number 1. Number 2, it's going to cost you another $20 million a year to pay.
Real down, they should have left him at left tackle. But like you said, the Cowboys always want to move around stuff.
No, that I agree with, but I mean, if he's an all pro at that position, I mean,
So this is what I don't understand though. So if you criticize someone, it's personal.
that's the way it is with a lot of people, man.
That's just somebody's go-to defense plan.
It's exactly. Yeah.
After I respect someone after the Green Bay game.
Look, I like Hampton a lot, man.
I watched Bob Lilly, Randy White, Charles Haley, Harvey Martin, Ed Tuttle Jones, Leon Lett, Russell Maryland. And the day after you get blown out of a playoff game, you had 1 tackle, 1 pressure, and you said, "I'm happy with the way I played."
No, I agree with that. That I definitely agree with. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's, do we ever think with all these Pro Bowlers we have, yet we get blown out versus good teams? These guys are not that good, and these guys are a product of the Jerry Jones hype machine.
No, I mean they absolutely are. I don't. I mean, you can't say that Mike is not top 5 in the league. That I disagree with, but I do agree with your general sentiment.
He is
borderline
top
You
5.
know what? And my thing is, the players do not have a fear of the head coaching. There's no accountability.
Guys,
Parsons is
we got to
borderline
stop
top
making
5.
it black and white, man.
Who borderline top 5?
Parsons, man.
Man, y'all gotta stop, man.
Yo,
We got to stop making it black and white, man. Multiple things can be true.
Yo, there are. What's the dude that the pass rusher for the Raiders? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh,
right now.
Crosby, okay, that's
I'm
4.
taking Crosby,
That's
Bosa.
4.
I'm taking
5.
Gary.
Bosa.
I'm taking
what about
Gary.
Chad Hutchinson? What about
I'm taking
Hutchinson from Detroit?
Hutchinson is 6.
Probably not Hutchinson. Probably not
I'll
Hutchinson.
take Hutchinson.
I don't think
He's
Hutchinson
better versus
is.
the run.
Yeah, but I'm not taking Hutchinson.
So do you take
Parsons.
someone better
Parsons-
versus the run with 10
Parsons
sacks?
just needs to rush from the linebacker spot.
Yeah.
I agree.
He can be linebacker and just rush from the linebacker spot. You don't need to go into coverage.
True.
Look at
But
Phil.
I mean, they targeted Parsons in that Green Bay game. They ran right at him.
No, they did. They did.
Detroit ran right at him. San Fran ran right at him. So it's stupid to leave him in one spot. And I've said that a million times. Move him around. But no.
And the best way to do that is at the linebacker position.
But he wants to stay at edge. But it's like, look, door number 1 is 20 million. Door number 2 is 42, 43, 45 million. I'll take my beating and stay at edge. What do I care? I'm on a pedestal. Come on, man.
It's not a black and white thing, man. It's not one or the other. Multiple things are true.
He did not call the defense at Penn State. He was just he played only 2 years in college ball, and they told him attack, and he's good at that, not from the edge. So put him at linebacker and say, listen, bro, don't think, don't call the plays, you just attack and you go forward every play. That's like DeMarcus Ware dropping off into coverage. How many times did we see that under Parcells and want to vomit? That's like, would you take Lawrence Taylor? And I'm just saying, just using as an example, and tell him to go cover a running back or a tight end out of the backfield? No, Lawrence Taylor had one job: go forward. But
well, Micah is not LT, so
No. Hey guys, I got to end this because I'm at undisclosed location. But yeah, I get off at 11. But if somebody want to get back on,
What you at, the Bunny Ranch?
No, we got
Bunny
Freaking
Ranch?
Friday, man, coming up.
Freaking Friday coming up, yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for everybody coming on.
For sure.
You fighting in Iran or something like that, man? What's going on? You working for the
All right,
Mossad?
y'all.
That's where he at.
Okay.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.